Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat who's served to different countries and has a fair bit of experience of how American politics is made. Diplomat Sajjanhar, you tell me about this point when we talk about the Indian-American immigrant community. It's the second largest, massive contribution positively. We have the CEOs running the big global organizations based in the USA. Do you think that for Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, Indian-Americans, India, Desi factor, all of that will be consideration as much when it comes to voting for these elections?
Yeah, thank you very much, Pooja, for having me on your show. As far as India-US relations are concerned, we need to be, the first point that we need to keep in mind is that there is a structural cohesion between the two countries. Our relations between the two countries, they have been growing, they have been expanding and deepening for the last 24 years at a stretch, since Bill Clinton came to India in March 2000. So irrespective of whichever party has occupied the White House, whether it is the Democrats or the Republicans, our relationship has continued to prosper and has continued to blossom. So the first point I would like to make is that irrespective of which candidate comes to the White House, whichever party takes the White House, I think our relations are expected to continue on the upward swing. And there will, of course, as Ambassador Prabhu Dayal has said, and I quite agree with him, that there are specific aspects on which both the candidates have their own positions. And in that context, I think, when you mention about the Indian Americans, the relevance, the importance of Indian Americans, of course it has grown. It has grown not only in numbers, but it has also grown in political influence. It has also grown in terms of the funding and the support, the monetary support, the financial support that our Indian community and diaspora is providing to the candidates. So in that sense, the importance, the significance of the Indian diaspora, not only in numbers, but also in terms of the other support. The other question, Pooja, that you asked, and it's a very important question, the importance of India. And, today is a time, there is geopolitical turbulence, there is so much of turmoil that is happening. We have seen the expansionist policies of China in the South China Sea, around in East China Sea, against Taiwan, all these places. And I think the fact that we want, both India and the United States want that China should emerge as a responsible actor, player on the global stage. That is important for both of us. But, let me make this one point, that it is not only China that brings India and the United States together. China is one of the factors, but there are several other factors also that bring the two countries together, whether it is economy, transfer of technology, it is climate change. India is a huge market.
And which candidate will possibly ensure that they become an ally of India and smartly are competitive with China as well, to ensure that that sort of balance also remains. I request you all to please stay on with me. Geeta, I want to come to you also. And before that, I want to bring to the viewer why the USA elections will be focusing on the swing states, for example. And we have details coming in on what precisely are these states that really matter at this point. 7 battleground states hold the key: Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia. Now, in Pennsylvania and Michigan, they will hold the key when it comes to specifically either of the sides. Because remember, it is often these swing states that can decide which direction this election will go. And for the swing states, the opinion makers are saying that it's too close, according to surveys, to really call at this point. Now, Trump, if he has a slight edge, that edge is just about 1% in battleground states. So I want to bring you in here, Geeta Mohan, and because you've been constantly interacting, and we also have Dr. Harinder waiting with us on this. Geeta, you tell me, the impact of India you're getting, and speaking to even those on the ground who know something about the Hindi film industry or India, that in many ways shows a connection on the ground. But do you think politically, for Kamala Harris, for Trump, for their team, that is a factor when you speak to Indian Americans?
Well, Absolutely. There are factors when the Indian Americans are going to vote. In fact, I was speaking to a few, Pooja, Democratic signed up voters who have always been Democratic voters in the past. This time around are going to vote Republican. They're going to vote Trump.
Hmm.
So there is going to be a huge shift. Earlier, the Indian vote bank was divided into 80-20, 80 Democrats and 20% Republicans. But there is a swift and a shift that we are seeing of Democratic voters now, despite being registered Democratic voters, looking to vote Trump. So, yes, the leadership is a factor. They do think that Kamala Harris will not bode well for the India-US ties, and therefore are looking at Trump. Although when I ask questions about immigration, concerns regarding Indians when it comes to immigration, when it comes to trade, the fact that he's been rather tough on India, they only have good things to say. They're talking about how he wants to fight illegal immigration, not immigration per se. And if it is immigration per se as a policy, he would be inviting more skilled, educated Indians into the
Yes.
country. On the other front, when it comes to various other aspects that one questions of Trump, they think that he's over here battling some very important issues. One, the war is certainly a factor. You'll hear that in the interviews I did today, wherein quite a few of them are saying that he does not take the country to war, that the expenses, living expenses in the country have increased because a lot of money of the United States of America, taxpayers' money, is being spent in wars. And so that's something that certainly is a factor. So it's not just immigration, it's also wars, unemployment,
Absolutely.
inflation, all these factors that the Indians or the Indian vote bank is also looking at.
That's a very important point. These are unreal times. We at least have two specific regions, whether it's West Asia and, of course, looking at Russia, Ukraine, the kind of war situation that is on. Geeta, so what I'll do is I'll keep your microphone on, and anytime you wish to ask a question to our expert panelists as well, just come in.